The co-op aspects of Two Human that's really, really interesting is that because the game is so action-orientated and at the same time is a deep RPG, the amount of permutations in the feel of the game when you're playing is really, really unique. But there's really deep complexities and at the same time ferocious action. All those kind of things that I think really set Two Human apart the most are just that it's got a real different feel to it, something that's very, very unique and hard to identify until you play it. When it came to 4 players versus 2 players, I think when people see the kinetic nature of the game and how fast it is, when you see the Berserker flying across the screen and you see all the different combinations and the size of the rooms and the number of enemies that we employ, to a certain extent, you really start to question what we did when we were designing the game is more actually better here. And I'm always one to say, and Silicon Knights has always had this philosophy, you know, quality over quantity. And we just felt that the gameplay was more fun with 2, so that's what we focused on. And you know, we think gamers, once they play co-op, will see that as well, and that was the decision for making that. That was the reason for that decision. The single-player experience, we have all the story, and it's heavily content-based. And for the multiplayer experience, we pulled that out because we didn't think people would want to sit through the cinematics. That was a kind of a design decision. But when you play co-op, the things that change are the following. You can start mixing and mingling different combinations, and the coordination of coordinating your spiders, your battle cries, your ruiners, your fierces, the type of weapons that you're using, and then just the different class combinations really can get some unique things, and it really allows you to mix. It's like mixing paint. So you can have a defender that gives everyone an armor boost with a berserker that does a lot of damage and gives you more combo level. Those kind of things really make the game totally different. On top of that, when you play cooperatively through the game, the enemy setups randomly change as you go through the levels. We don't randomly change the environments. Some things change the environments, but not a lot. But more of the different setups and how you're used to playing, and it's a lot more challenging from a strategic point of view. I think people will really, really appreciate the dynamic nature of the gameplay more when they see it going in the co-op aspects. So you can use the same character for both co-op and multiplayer. We have taken precautions to make sure there's no, with encryption and stuff like that, to make sure there's no duping of items and to destroy the economy, so you have to find them. But at the same time, it's a really seamless transition between single player and multiplayer and trading items and stuff like that. We thought that was pretty important. It really hasn't been done that well on the consoles, and in some ways not that well on the PCs either. So we've done a lot of things that really simplify that and make it remove as much tedium as we can. I think it's pretty easy, but it does require coordination, and that's what I'm excited about with live, with the headsets and stuff, because you're going to need to talk. And you can't just go in there brute force and take out some of these enemies. You'll have to sort of, look at the battlefield and start calling enemies out. And both Roby and Chris, who were demoing yesterday at the event as an example, they found really quickly that they had to start calling out enemies when they were playing, otherwise they're just getting owned. And so it's those kind of things that make it both challenging and exciting and often unpredictable, because you never know what kind of setup you're going to get at times, and it just could be complete, you think you got it under control and it turns into complete chaos, which is always fun, I think, in my opinion anyway.